Good evening, councillors, Madam Town Clerk and officers and members of the public watching on the live stream. Welcome to the personnel pre-discussion consultation meeting of Stratford-upon-Avon Town Council, scheduled for June the 29th at 6 p.m. Let's go to the first item on the agenda, and that is to elect the chairman of the Human Resources Committee. Do we have any nominations? Councillor Alcock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could I please nominate Councillor Richard Voss as chairman of the Personnel Committee?
Thank you, Councillor Alcock. Do we have a seconder?
I second that.
Thank you, Councillor Mackenzie. Do we have any other nominations? No. Okay, councillors, then can we vote, please, to elect Councillor Richard Voss as the chairman of the Human Resources Committee for the year 2021-22, please? And that is unanimous. Congratulations, Councillor Voss. I will now hand over the meeting to yourself, and sadly, I will now leave the meeting.
Enjoy your evening, Councillor.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Mayor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Mr. Chairman and members, as you are aware, this is a consultation, so the chairmanship will need to be ratified at a council meeting.
Indeed. And thank you for that. And if we move on to the nomination for deputy chair, do we have any nominations? And if not, I'm happy to nominate Councillor Alcock as deputy chair.
Thank you.
Who would like to second? Thank you, Councillor Fragile. And any other nominations? So let's move to vote. And shall we vote for Councillor Alcock to be deputy chair? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. And apologies for absence. I think we've got Councillor Wall and Councillor Warren Howells, have we, Madam Town Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you for that. Any declarations of interest on items of the agenda? No. Okay. Have we received any written requests for dispensation for disclosable pecuniary interests?
No.
No. And do we need to grant any request for dispensation?
No.
No. Okay, so public participation. Has anybody asked if they could participate? No. So if we could move on, please, to approve the open minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting, which was held back on the 16th of February. Can I just move to approve? All those in favour? Okay, thank you. We're unanimous in that.
May I append your signature to those?
You may, of course. And then if we can move then to the Town Clerk's open and confidential report, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To look at the terms of reference of the committee, which you have to do on a yearly basis, and also the calendar of reviews, which are in your appendices A and B, with my recommendation that these are approved and adopted and recommended to council.
Are there any questions or concerns about the terms of reference? Well, in which, yes, Councillor Alcock.
I was going to propose, Mr. Chairman, that they are adopted as is.
Okay. And do we have a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Fragile. And presumably you'd like us to vote on those formally.
Yes, please.
So shall we vote to approve those? All those in favour? Do we want to vote? Hello? Councillor Fragile, I thought you might be interested in that. We've carried that unanimously. Job descriptions, please, if you want to just talk to anything of any there.
Yes, I've discussed them with the staff concerned. I have to say, that there is still some concern regarding the new committee structure, but their job descriptions are, fit for purpose, and they've accepted those. But there are certainly things that don't fit comfortably with the skills and abilities of the officers concerned.
And do you think that's a development training issue, or do we need to take a deeper review?
I think it's unfamiliarity, to be perfectly honest. And I think when you're not familiar with something, it can be daunting. So I think we need to give it a little bit longer.
Okay.
But as I said, the way we will work, or the way we'll have to work now, is that not one clerk can be responsible for a committee. It needs more than one clerk, because, as I said, the roles are split. When I employed them to fit a committee, and now they're not. So I do think it's too soon to do anything, but I just wanted you to be aware.
Are there any areas of particular anxiety that we need to, or is it, as you say, just allowing it to run its course for people to become more confident as they become more familiar with the structure of the committees?
Yes, I think that's exactly it. But it used to be very simple to say, well, Charles was responsible for civic, ceremonial, and protocol, and everything therein. Lisa was general purposes and everything therein, and they both understood their roles. Where, because we've pinched some from that role and put it into that role, it just doesn't sit comfortably with being responsible for a committee as it once was. But as I say, I genuinely think it's slightly too early, and the staff work well together. So, for example, Charles, who now has the remit of markets under his committee, well, he's never done markets. He doesn't know markets, doesn't understand markets, whereas Lisa has had markets since she joined. She does the market forum, for example. So although markets, if you like, sits under Charles's committee, Lisa is still doing markets, and that there is a mixing pot here of the staff having to work on more than one committee and be responsible.
Yeah, thank you for that. Councillor Frasley.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with what Sarah's been saying. Obviously, we've had an issue recently with Lisa, not being able to come to work, so to speak. And I'm afraid Sarah has borne the brunt of that particular exercise, that she's more or less the planning clerk. And it's how much each clerk can do another's job that concerns me, really. And have we got the right number of staff in the first place?
Okay. I think this is all valid points, and unless anyone disagrees, perhaps we can talk about that in more detail in the confidential session. Can I suggest? And then we can open that up and have a look at it in detail and see exactly where we are at the moment.
Yes,
is that all right?
happy to do that.
Councillor Fradji, happy to do that? Okay. All right, so you would like us to approve and adopt without amendment at the moment, I'm presuming. Do we need to vote on that?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Let's, I propose we approve and adopt without amendment. A seconder, please. Okay, and a vote, please. Lovely. Let's move on. Thank you. That's all unanimous. Running through point 3. Review of leave, terms of reference. We picked up the report, have we? And are there any comments on that you'd like to make? We've no one with any outstanding leave, which is really well done under a difficult year when it was difficult sometimes, I think, to decide you know, with people working at home, maybe which was leave and which was work. So everyone is satisfied that their obligations have been honoured fully, and we start the holiday year, or we did, from April the 1st. So we're
Yes.
okay. So that's been noted. Working arrangements, and we've had the summary in front of us, so perhaps we can have a little discussion on that. Would you just like to kick that off, please, Town Clerk, if you make any comments?
Yes, thank you. I was asked to take part in this survey that I've detailed the results of, SF Recruitment's findings, which I found very interesting, and I thought it would be worthwhile bringing it to the Personnel Committee, because it's very obvious that COVID has changed the way we all work and we all think. And some people, for example, Lisa and Phil, much prefer to work from home. Whereas the others, Charles, Emma and Vic, they like to be in the office environment. And certainly now, right now, we cannot have 4 people in that room. And nor is it necessary, to be perfectly honest. It just needs, the office needs to be manned, you know, at an acceptable level, i.e. 2 or possibly even 3 if I'm in or Phil is in, etc. And if a member of staff wants to work from home or on a hybrid basis, then I personally, that is my recommendation. I think this is what their work-life balance. You know, as I say, as long as the work is done, I don't care where it's done, but we are a public building, so you know, we do have a service that we have to give, so we will have to man the office, obviously. But in the confidential section, because you can identify the staff, I've put what everybody would prefer to do in there. But really, it's a question of saying, well, do you approve that this is the way we wish to go forward, even when COVID is over?
Well, okay, I think that's fair enough. Let's go around the table. Councillor Alcock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that this is actually something that we can say, yes, for now, staff are happy, officers are happy, council are happy, and this can be renewed. This can be re-looked at, you know, every 6 months, every 12 months, and we can review how it's working. I can completely see the benefits of it. For somebody who tried for many years to get flexible working at home, this whole situation has shown that it can be done, and it can be done well. And I don't believe for a second that the work of the council has been affected in any way with having officers working from home. So I would like to suggest that, yes, we accept hybrid working for the staff who wish to. Staff who wish to work into the office should be able to do that too. And we review it. We can review it on a bi-yearly or yearly level and see if it still continues to work. That would be my recommendation to the committee.
Councillor, thank you for that. Councillor Franklin, yes, please.
Chair, I just wondered if Sarah had got any views on what's happening in other councils, say the district council. Perhaps I should know and Vic should know, but I'm afraid I don't. And other town and parish councils. I mean, are you having discussions between you on these kind of issues?
Yes, on the SLC forum, there is a lot of discussions. I think district council, actually, there was officers working from home before COVID. Actually, I mean, they were making a policy of this, as are many other organisations throughout the country. You know, big businesses are encouraging their staff to stay at home and work from home if they can. And although I don't know how many, I mean, I haven't done a survey of how many officers are working from home. I think it's a very, very large proportion, because whenever I go on an SLCC or a training thing or the WALC clerks catch up, looking round at everybody, I think I'm possibly the only one in an office.
Yeah, I think good point. Just before we move on, I think we are, although Councillor Mackenzie has dropped out, presumably her internet, I think with 3 we're still quorate, aren't we?
You are,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. What I would say is that, as Councillor Alcock says, we need to review it, and clearly there's some fluidity, and not that we should just get to July the 19th and say that's it. If the date comes around and we open up, everyone back in, we continually have to make sure that the staff are happy, you're comfortable with what is happening, and you're comfortable that the productivity and the support that you need to run the business of the town hall is happening, home or away, however. And if it works well, as you say, there's a very good reason to keep working and nurturing that, but with the expectation that if people do need to come in for whatever reason, and the town hall is secure under all the various COVID regulations, as they may or may not, and the different iterations that happen, that they are prepared to so do. So as long as you feel comfortable about that, I think what Councillor Alcock says is absolutely right, and that is the way we should go. And you will be our, conscience on this, if that would be right, the right thing to say, and advise us if you feel things are not working properly, so that we can react accordingly. The next meeting is the Personnel Committee. October. Okay. Well, that would seem a good time, the space of time, to have had a look at it. We'll have had the summer hopefully opening up again at the end of July. We'll see where we are, and we'll be taking guidance. And staff may or may not have a different view then anyway. And so things will have settled down in many respects, I suspect. So in that respect, we are accepting your recommendations, accepting the proposal. Do we need to vote on that, or we're just noting? Yeah. Okay. So Councillor Alcock, if you'd like to run that by us again, please.
I would like to propose that we accept the hybrid working conditions as requested, with a mind to review it at our October meeting.
Okay, and seconding that, I think Councillor Fragiley was going to second it. He was fully focused on us there, and I can just see his hand popping up to second. Yes, I saw the hand come up there.
My only issue with what Vic's proposal is October, it's too near. Shouldn't we let it run for a bit longer than that?
Well, we can review it then. We don't have to change it, but I think we're just talking about reviewing it, aren't we? I think that was...
Yeah.
Okay.
It is important to review it.
Yeah.
I'll second it then.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And we can vote on that, please. All in favour. Thank you. And that's carried. And I read your note with interest, Town Clerk, on grading remuneration in terms of conditions. So that's still waiting to be formally settled, I'm presuming.
It is, yes.
And that will have a small effect, and presumably the financial officer fully aware of that and the impact, albeit small-ish, that it will make on the accounts. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me that figure, so he is aware.
He knows all about it. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're noting that there's no more to be said. If we move to the confidential pages now, I'm presuming at this point we ought to close down on the live feed.
Yes. Could you just ask your fellow councillors whether they wish to go into confidential?
Fellow councillors, do you wish to go into confidential? We do. I think we are agreed on that.
Right. Well, thank you very much for anyone who is watching. I'm afraid I'm now going to be turning off the live